Dart skill presents addition of fractions. When two or more fractions are on the same denominator, let's say 5, and if you want to add them, you simply add the numerators and keep the same denominator on the answer. So the answer is going to be something over 5, and if required, you could simplify the final answer. So if we have a 1/5 plus 2/5, on the answer we do a 1 plus 2, and that is equal to 3/5. Similarly, if you wanted to add the fraction 3/10 to the fraction 5/10, you would do 3 plus 5 on the top and keep the same denominator, which is 8/10. And then if needed, you could simplify this fraction to its lowest term, meaning divide 8 and 10 with the greatest common factor, or GCF, which happens to be 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so we have a 4 on the top, and 10 divided by 2 is 5, so we have a 5 on the bottom. So 3/10 plus 5/10 is equal to 4/5. But then the obvious question is, how do you add two fractions that are on different denominators? For example, if you have 3/5 to be added to, let's say 1/10. If you do the same process and do a 3 plus 1 on the top, what do you do on the bottom? Do you write a 5 or do you write a 10? So this actually doesn't work now, because the two fractions are not on the same denominator, unlike the previous two examples. So the idea is to get these two denominators the same by finding their LCM and writing down both these fractions in their equivalent forms so that they are on the same denominator. The LCM of the denominators of these fractions are called the least common denominators, or the LCDs. The LCM of 5 and 10, the least common multiple, is 10 itself. Or we could also say the LCD, least common denominator, of 3/5 and 1/10, the two fractions this time, is 10. 10 is the common denominator. This fraction is already on something over 10, so we don't need to change that. And then how do we change 3/5 to something over 10? Simple. Multiply 5 with 2 to get a 10 over here, and if you do that, you got to do the multiplication on the numerator as well. So you have a 3 times 2, which is 6. 3/5 is equivalent, or is exactly the same fraction as 6/10. So you could as well use 6/10 in place of 3/5. 6/10 plus 1/10 is equal to, now they're on the same denominator, so we could do a 6 plus 1 on the top and keep the same denominator. Therefore, this is 7/10. 3/5 plus 1/10 is 7/10. Let's try another one. Let's try and add the fractions 5/9 and 1/6. They are not on the same denominators, therefore we cannot add the numerators as they are right now. The least common multiple of 9 and 6 is 18. So you want to rewrite 5/9 as something over 18 and 1/6 as something over 18. And then go on to say, okay, the answer is going to be the sum of the two new numerators over 18. Now how do we change a 9 to a 18? By multiplying 9 with 2. And you do the same with the 5 on the top, times 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. So 5/9 is equivalent to 10/18. And similarly, you want to multiply 6 with 3 to get an 18, and do the same with the 1 on the top. So that's 3/18. Now that they are on the same denominator, we could say, okay, this is equal to 10 plus 3, which is 13/18. How do we add two mixed numbers together? Let's say we have 2 and 3/4 to be added to 3 and 4/5. We could add the integers together. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So we have a 5 plus the fractions together is 3/4 plus 4/5. And they are not on the same denominator. The LCM of the denominators 4 and 5 is 20. Therefore, you want to change both of them to something over 20. And to do that, you multiply 4 with 5, 3 with 5, 5 with 4 to get a 20, and do the same with this 4 on the top. So this is equal to, we already have a 5 here, 5 plus 3 times 5 is 15. We have a 15 over 20. That's equivalent to 3/4. Plus 4 times 4 is 16. We have a 16 over 20. That's equivalent to 4/5. Now that these two fractions are on the same denominator, let's just add them. So this is equal to 5 plus 15 plus 16 is 31 over 20. Now 31 over 20 is an improper fraction that can be turned into another mixed number. I hope you know how to do that. Divide 31 with 20. You get the answer as 1, and if you subtract 20, the remainder is 11. So 31 over 20 is equivalent to the mixed number. This is equal to 1, and the remainder goes on top, 11, and the divisor comes on the bottom. So 31/20 is the same as 1 whole and another 11/20. And we already had 5 wholes here and another whole. That makes it, so let me just write that as plus 5. That makes it 5 plus 1, that's 6 wholes and 11 over 20. So this is the answer, the sum of this and this.